welcome to another Woodshop podcast with Mike Coffey of Coffey Custom Builds, Daniel Dunlap of Daniel Dunlap Woodworks, and Peter Capar of Petrie's Workshop. You can find us all as well
I'll go
as the
first for
podcast
what's on my
on
bench
Instagram and YouTube.
I want to tell my rapid story.
Welcome to episode 76 of another Woodshop podcast. I forgot how to speak. Your one-stop shop for all your reverse mortgage needs. And speaking of being strapped for cash, well, how else are you going to pay for the tools? Speaking of being strapped for cash, we are all saddened by the news that OnlyFans is banning all explicit and sexual content. So we're going to be pretty strapped for cash. But Mike, can people support us in any other way?
Before we get into that, we are going to be removing our OnlyFans logo on the pre-show. If they're not going to support what we do, we're not going to.
Probably should have taken that off.
It's been on there for a long time. Hey, if you wanted to support us, well, since we've lost at least 70% of our revenue stream from OnlyFans, if you wanted to support us on,
it was pretty much only Dan's.
It was only Dan's, which it wasn't the name of the site. It was literally only a bunch of guys named Dan who would support us over there. It was weird. Only Dan.
Like the Josh fight.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a pile of Joshes fighting each other and a little kid wins. Big thanks to if you wanted to support us over on patreon.com/another Woodshop podcast, that would be awesome. That's one way to support us. That's really the only way to support us. Oh, that's not true. You can go to our Etsy store and buy some cool stuff. We'll talk more about that later as well. But patreon.com, you guys are awesome. All the patrons over there, you are awesome for supporting us. And
you also get some perks, great. Mike, right?
They do get some perks.
Something coming up?
Such as getting access to the show early. And that's actually more days earlier now. It's like 4 days early now because anyway, you get the show early. You get access to the video of the show a few days early. You get access to the pre-show video early.
Any
if you've been
obscure content we deem necessary for you to see.
Yeah, stuff that we're like, that's so funny. We want only patrons to see it. We'll do that sometimes. And then if you've been a patron for 2 months, a VIP patrons for 2 months, we send you a free shirt. Yep. So we probably should actually check up on those.
I should check up on that. Didn't get a shirt yet? You will now. I'll check those.
if you've been a patron for 2 months, and
but then there's the other thing that we were talking about.
I'm going into that as well.
Okay,
come on,
I
guy.
just want to make sure.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. So a long time ago, we mentioned, and by we, I mean Dan, of course, put me under the bus and said that I'm going to make everyone these tumblers. I was like, Dan, I don't know how. And then I was forced to buy this laser. It was a very expensive thing. Dan didn't. No, I had said that we were going to buy, that I'd got a laser and I got a rotary and I was going to make tumblers and we were going to do a giveaway for our patrons. So I know how to do that now. And we are going to give away 6 AWP tumblers to patrons. So we're figuring out how we're going to do that. We'll structure that and have more information this week. Pay attention to our stories and the podcast Instagram account. We'll have a better announcement for that. But also, we're going to start offering those tumblers on the AWP Etsy store. So if you're ever interested, if you aren't able to win one and you still want to get one and you want to support us, go check out the AWP Etsy store. We'll have those up here in the next probably week or so, I'd say. So that was a lot of stuff. Yeah. But speaking of support, a bunch of you have been writing really great reviews. And Pete did the call, but we were looking for like silly reviews.
Obscure, confusing.
Yeah. And
because here's the joke that we were trying to play on everyone else out there. You guys leave us good reviews that are hilarious and very confusing. And people see us rising in our ranks and they go, oh, what's this woodworking podcast? Let me check it out. Well, what do the reviews say? And people are just super lost.
What is going on?
What is going on? And then they have to listen. And then they go, what are these 3 schoolgirls doing giggling this much?
Example.
Good callback.
From Delonzo 1041. He and or she said, this podcast is so amazing. It saved my life. The doctor said I was legally, not medically, dead for 36 hours. Last medical technique they tried was putting my AirPods in and binge played AWP. They said it was a scientific miracle when I came back to life on episode 69.
Nice. Nice.
Mike over at Broken Lead Woodwork says, thanks to AWP, I no longer feel so alone on a seesaw.
Yeah.
Someone by the name of They Call Me John said, the title is Surgery. My doctor said I needed that brain surgery. know why that's funny
You
to me.
know,
I needed
the
that
one.
brain surgery. I don't know why that's so funny. But then I started listening to AWP, and now the voices in my head tell me that I'm cured. So that's good.
You are, John.
I don't know if we read this one before. Hold on. I think this is new. This is from TM Designs. Finally, a reason to do work. For months, I've been dissatisfied and completely bored with my job. Now, after listening to what seems like 14 years of podcasts, I have a reason to get refocused and concentrate on my career. This is to not get fired and be forced to start a podcast. And these three yahoos have given me the inspiration to step above mediocrity. Thanks, guys. I owe you my life. Love you long time. Tango Mike Designs. This is one from Jason Ruffino. I think this is a new one as well. Yeah. I grew an inch after listening to this pod.
Like thanks, overall, or
thanks.
Yes,
specific spots. It's very targeted growth, if you know what I'm saying. Thanks, Dan and friends. I guess me and Pete are and friends. So, and that's it. The 5 great reviews. You guys are awesome.
Wait, we're friends. Like,
yeah, it's thanks, Dan and friends,
and others.
Yeah,
Dan and the guys.
Yeah, Dan.
I like it and friends.
Well, we were Dirty Mike and the boys.
It's like Barney and friends. Except I'm not purple.
I mean, if your breathing gets any worse, we might have to see that.
It's true.
Anyway,
it's a long show.
Anyways,
it's a long
Dan,
show.
While you still have your voice, can you sing this beautiful?
Can you
tune?
at least sing real quick? Just bring us into it right now. Go sing. Outstanding.
Magical.
You weren't actually supposed to, but I have a way to harness your inner beauty. I don't know.
If you do, share it with me, would you?
Yeah, please. I could use some of that.
Just an audio file.
This is an audio file of you singing like Michael McDonald. I can't forget. So now that Dan has sung and the song's been sung, we're going to talk about what's on our bench this week.
Mike, what's on your bench?
So I'm going to start with mine. This week has been interesting. There's a big fire pretty close to us. A bunch of friends and some family got evacuated. That's real scary stuff. That's not really what's on my bench, but just kind of what I'm dealing with right now. It fortunately has not grown a ton in the last 24 hours, and it is moving away from people I'm close to, but it is still dangerous and moving towards South Lake Tahoe. So, big thoughts and prayers stuff kind of thing going out to those people. There's a lot of people displaced right now. And obviously there's other fires in the state, and this isn't the biggest one. This is just one that's close to me. So,
did you have to help anyone get out yet?
No, I offered several friends, and my aunt and uncle are under warning now, but they've got their RV. They got one of those big motorhomes. They've got all their important stuff packed in there. They're ready to get out of there if they need to. So, several of my friends are at families' houses down the hill more, where the fire is nowhere around. So anyway, just kind of sucks seeing that kind of destruction. We all love being at home. It's just like our place. It's our place where it can be us. So, also
where you poop with the door open.
Yeah. Shoot Nerf guns at your kids while you're pooping. I don't know. I've never done that.
John, come here. John.
Daddy wants to show you this hilarious video. Go.
Dad, not again.
And then Tuesday, I got a story. Poop shoot. Tuesday. Office. It's like desk pop, but a poop shoot. You never done your first poop shoot?
Sorry, just popped in my head.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, to be fair, it's kind of always been there. Too soon. So Tuesday, I'm driving down to a job walk for that big table I've had in my shop for months. We're trying to figure out the logistics of getting it in the building, but I'm on my way down there. I'm driving down the freeway. I go under this overpass, and I'm just driving. Traffic's moving fine, and there's a huge explosion, and it scares me. Like, it rattled me so bad. This explosion was so loud, and glass goes like all over my shoulder and kind of hits my neck. And I'm like, what the F just happened? And I look at the car next to me, and it was loud enough to where the car next to me heard the sound. It was so loud. And they're like, what? I'm like, I don't even know what happened.
Was it louder than Dan sneezing?
That's not possible. And you know that. Please don't minimize my story in the middle of it.
Sorry.
No. So I look in my rearview mirror. My rear window is blown out. and the cars behind me have their hands in the air, like, what the heck just happened? And I'm like, I don't know what happened. So I get over to the number 1 lane. I was in the number 2 lane. I get over and I kind of slow down and I'm trying to like assess. I'm like, what's going on? I thought because I'd gone over under the overpass, someone had thrown a rock at my truck, but I'm driving away. They'd have to throw that thing at like 150 miles an hour to break through my window. So then my next thought was that I got someone shot my window out, which has happened out here in California. You know,
it's like an every other day experience, isn't it?
No, it's not very.
Or is that a Jersey
it's been a
thing?
long time. I don't know. It hasn't happened. There hasn't been a string of them in a long while, fortunately. So, I was like feeling, you know, I was like, was I shot? It was totally lame. I was like, was I shot? Is it bad? Am I bleeding? And I was like grabbing myself and making sure and there was nothing. I couldn't find anything. So I get off the freeway at the next exit. I go to the Chevron, the gas station there. I pull off and I just kind of like collect myself. And I'm like, okay, what just happened? I get out of my truck. I don't see any real signs of any specific damage. I could see where by my rear window that there was some damage kind of by where the bed meets the cab. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So I walk around, don't see anything else. And I go under my truck and there's a ratchet strap around my drivetrain or drive shaft. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And I'm like, that's my ratchet strap. What happened? So the only thing I can figure is I always keep ratchet straps in my truck. I always do. I've done that forever. I keep them when I'm done with them. I roll them up into a ball and I put them in the front corner of my bed. And I think the wind just whipped one of the loose strap pieces around enough to where it went between the cab of my truck and the bed of my truck. And that little like 1-inch space, I know. And then it blew it down there and then it caught onto the drive shaft and wrapped around. And then as it pulled the strap down, the hook got pulled up in the air and then smashed out my window and went down there because the hook was stuck in the muffler. Like it punctured the muffler and went into that. So I had to, obviously I was parked. So the drive shaft wasn't moving. And the ratchet part was gone. I don't know where that is. The strap was torn. It was on the freeway somewhere. Hopefully no one else got damaged to their vehicle. I don't know what happened to that. I slowed down on purpose and it was like about a half a mile before I got off the freeway. So I was waiting for everyone was going around me. I didn't see anyone. No one followed me to the gas station. I would assume if anyone got hit by it nearby, they would have followed me in. But anyway, I got the thing off there and I just couldn't believe what had just happened. I immediately called everybody. So
that was a crazy, like you sent us that voice memo. I was like, what are the odds of that happening? That is insane.
The odds of that happening are insanely like crazy, but when you think about it, you got incredibly lucky that's all that happened.
Oh yeah.
So lucky.
100%.
If it hit my gas tank or wrapped around my axle or anything like that, I mean, the damage
like I told you, I've seen a video and I can't find the dang video, but I've seen a video where the hook grabbed the back of the bed and folded the truck almost like a taco.
That's wild.
I know I've seen that video. And
I called my insurance agent.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, I called my insurance agent and I called him. He's like, this is absolutely bonkers, this story. He's like, I actually am going to have you call in the claim because they're not going to believe me. So I'm going to have you call. So I called in the claim and I talked to the lady and she was like, I've been doing this for 29 years. I've never heard a story like this. She's like, I always hear the story where it's a contractor and they strap the S hook to like the wheel well, and then something comes loose and it falls down and gets wrapped in their axle, but never on the drive shaft like that. She's like, I couldn't even believe it. And then kudos to my insurance company because they had the adjuster out the next day, which was yesterday. And I'm going to have the check like next week. So I've got the window being replaced tomorrow and I'm just waiting to hear from my shop about the muffler. So anyway, that was wild way to start the Tuesday. But I went to the job walk and we figured out how we're going to get that thing in the building. Originally, it was going to be craned in. That crane is gone. We were using the man lift. The man lift is only going to be out there for like...
Isn't that a strip club in Nebraska?
The man lift? Yeah, there's the man lift and the bear club. The bear den, not bear club.
Bear den's in Jersey.
Oh, yeah. Oops. I don't know.
It's a sister club.
Yeah, it's...
That's in Alabama.
If you have like one of their passes... Oh, God. Oh, no. Jeez.
Oh, what is happening?
And we just lost our Alabama crowd.
Oh no!
No, we just gained our
Dale. Don't go.
Dale. So, anyway, figured out we're gonna get that thing in the building. I got a bunch of other stuff going on, but I think we're gonna try to move the what's on my bench along pretty quick this week. So I got a big production job going on. I got that poker table still. It had to have been had to be backburnered because I got to finish up the table for the Sky Lounge for the job walk. I got to get that delivered by the 30th. So this weekend, my cousin and I are going to basically finish building that thing, assemble the whole thing, get it in clamps, get it done, sand it all up, do all the edge treatment. And then next week I'll be spraying it. So I had to order some custom metal for it. I ordered a piece of angle from Bidwell that's going to be coming in to attach to the wall. And then I've got another piece coming I actually decided to make a 3x3 angle plate to go in on the inside of the miter waterfall joint that I'm going to put threaded inserts in there just to give it a little bit more strength. So I'm going to do that. What's up, Pete?
Hey, if somebody needed some C channel from Bidwell, is there a little discount code?
Oh yeah. If you're looking for, thank you, Pete. If you're looking for C channel, go to Bidwell's I should probably know the website. It's on my website.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, people put it in the show notes, but use code Coffey10 and you can get their C channel really is the best. I mean, it really is the best C channel. It's really great stuff. If you use that stuff, get theirs. And they'll do custom stuff too. I mean, they made me 8-foot long C channel to go the lengthwise down my
that was
slab.
Big.
So
yeah, it's never moving. It's so solid.
Can they do W channel or Q channel?
They'll do Q channel. Actually, the channel they made for me, we called it D channel because it's so big. No, all right. You guys are gonna just ghost me. Outstanding.
Along.
Dan doesn't laugh. We went over this in the pre-show.
Dan's done with this stuff.
Think about it, guys. Think back to every single episode you've listened to. Dan has never actually laughed at a joke.
Dan doesn't laugh. He doesn't like humor.
Yeah. None of this is funny.
It's kind of not his thing. I don't like any of this.
I love that people are legitimately going to question their lives right now.
So, yeah, I've got that. I'm working on a custom cornhole board order, and I've got a realtor who is a customer of mine who I've got some stuff I'm trying to get done for him. I was hoping to get them done mostly today, but my laser's being kind of a jerk. There's other stuff going on, but I want to pass it to Pete.
Oh, to me. Definitely.
I can throw it to Dan.
No, I got it.
No? Okay.
No, yeah, I've just been keeping busy the whole week. I honestly blunked it, and it's Thursday. Like blunked. Thank you. And it's Thursday again. I was like, oh my god, we have to record tonight. This week kind of flew by. I've been trying to knock out a lot of these. Like, we're getting to that point in the house where it's a lot of really little projects, like wrap all the pipes in the basement with some kind of like the hot water pipes, because we would take the cold water or hot water would take forever to get hot in the sinks because the basement's pretty cool, and we have to wrap all the pipes. I'm literally walking around. I walked around with WD-40 today, spraying all the hinges on the doors so nothing squeaks anymore. Thank goodness. So
you can sneak out.
Yeah, I can sneak out, exactly. I had this pallet from when they delivered my generator, so I made a ramp.
Table.
I made a coffee table. I actually made a ramp into my shed because this generator is 200 pounds dry, nothing in it, no fuel, nothing. It's so heavy. And I have about an 8-inch step into my shed. Everyone else on the block has a ramp on theirs. I don't, so I ended up just making a ramp out of the pallet. Generator is great. It's nice to have it because we do lose power out here, and it's gonna come in handy when forever recording a podcast and we lose power. So that's exciting. What else?
Will you still have internet though? Oh yeah, I guess you would.
Yeah, because that would be coax doesn't need power to transmit.
Doesn't need power. Yeah.
What else? Oh yeah, so I said I'm in my office. Anyone watching the video? I'm actually in my office.
I thought that was a green screen.
It's not. It's really here. See. So I'm officially in my office because I set up my desk, and I cannot tell you how in love I am with this setup. I got this large adjustable height sit-stand desk from Vivo. It was on Amazon, and it's L-shaped, and you can adjust it up to, I think it was 86 inches or something like that. I was like, yeah, 86 inches one way, and then you could put a a 56-inch return, which puts the whole thing at about 86 by 86. It's a massive desk, and it's able to lift everything up, no problem. I have my desktop, 3 monitors, and laptop, and a bunch of junk on here. So this thing's great. And it's just IKEA butcher block on top, which is pretty hefty. So I was kind of concerned about the weight, but this desk is amazing. My back no longer hurts when I work all day in front of my desk. And if I get tired, I could just stand up and keep working. So big fan of that. Aside from that, I worked on my buddy's van. My buddy Carmine, we've been doing his van for a couple of years now.
Would that be the Randy Bovandy?
Randy Bovandy. Yeah, that is the van. That's the name of the van. So we finally put an insulation on the ceiling. He was running all the electrical with his dad, so that's all run. So we were able to finally close up the ceiling, put an extra layer of the pink foam that we all use for cutting stuff, the track saw. He was using that for insulation on the walls and the ceiling. We put up some Reflectix, that silver bubble wrap stuff. And then we finally put some plywood and the cedar planks. So we cut out all the pieces for these little like puck lights that are in there. And it's so amazing. It just looks so clean and cool in there with that cedar ceiling. So we want to, keep that project going. Actually, I need to investigate what happened with his. Remember I made that large cherry tabletop for the van, for the counter. Almost immediately after we sprayed it, like the next week or whatever, he was on a trip,
it was like
and
it was peeling or something.
Not peeling, but he put a water jug down, and I guess it was a little wet or whatever, and it left a stain. So I guess maybe I didn't do enough layers. I think we did 3.
Water will do that. Water's going to do that.
Did you say
finish?
With
was that a lacquer finish?
It was a water-based lacquer. Yeah, sprayed 3 coats.
Yeah, that'll do that.
There's your problem.
Yeah. Also will. Oh, yeah. See, I'm still learning all my finishes. I used to just go.
Yeah, water left on there. It's not gonna.
Because I used wipe on poly for years, and that was always kind of like pretty robust.
Wipe on poly will probably. Well, I believe poly will also, if you leave water in there, it's gonna get water damage. The only thing you're gonna have that's gonna like really is like a Rubio or like a hard oil or like a hard wax oil finish.
That's what I was thinking too.
It's got to be hydrophobic.
So we got to do. We're gonna have to do something a little more durable for that top, just to obviously make sure it lasts. Aside from that, I mean, it's still smooth as hell. It just kind of got underneath and whatever.
Yeah,
we'll fix it. But I'm excited to keep working on this thing because now with the electrical going in there, that's pretty dope. And I'm moving all the electrical from my old shed to this new shed because I had like solar lights.
Real quick, how far did you move from your old house? It's like 40 minutes.
45 minutes.
So is he near you now with his van, or is he driving out to your new?
No, ironically, he moved. So he's about 20 minutes. He was about 20 minutes from here, and that's where the van usually is. But he moved in the last 9 months to like 5-10 minutes from where we used to live. So like he's opposite, but he's a big camping guy. He drives around like for fun. He'll go and drive 4 hours away.
That sounds awesome.
So he doesn't mind to drive. He's one of those friends that like when I invite him, I tell him like, hey, you can stay here. You can legitimately stay here. And he's like, okay, yeah, like I like you guys. Like, well, so he'll spend the night sometimes. We'll work into the late night, and then he'll spend the night. And the next morning we'll just like keep working on the van or whatever. So that's pretty dope. Because sometimes you invite people over and they're like, oh, I don't want to impose. Whatever. All right. And last thing is I got a really nice deal yesterday on a bunch of Bessie clamps, miscellaneous tools, a ton of hardwoods, and a ton of turning blanks. So I saw a listing pop up. I saw a picture in a dust collector. It was one of those listings on Marketplace where it was clear the pictures were not taken by a woodworker because none of the important bits were in there. They were just kind of general photos of random tools. But I saw this dust collector. It was one of the big jet ones. That's like $2,000. Not $2,000. I'm sorry. It's like $800, $900 or whatever. I'm like, I could probably use that. Maybe get rid of the red one, and I'm still gonna get a bigger one eventually. And by the time I got there was a guy loading up his truck. I was like, dang, you beat me to it. I go into this basement, and like this guy's in like his 80s, if not older. He's just trying to get rid of all this stuff, but he's, he knows what it's all worth. He's that beautifully built furniture, this beautiful Rubo bench that he's made, all handmade cabinets, everything in the shop. It's like, damn, this guy like has been doing work down here for a while. He had a pile the size of like a minivan of lumber in his basement. It was
Attaboy.
apparently all put in there by taking one of the basement windows out and putting it one board at a time into this basement. I straight up asked him, like, how much would you want for all this lumber? And he was like, 1,500. I'm like, I'm legitimately
That's so
considering
cheap.
this,
Oh my
but
God,
it's
so cheap.
but it was like random woods. Some of it was like water damage, and there wasn't a ton of like hardwoods or there's some exotics. I'm sorry,
Two
not,
by fours.
sorry, not a ton of no, it was all hardwood. It wasn't a ton of like walnut or whatever. It was like I don't know, it was some of it was like a lot of dirty wood that I'm pretty sure was just like like some old growth pine or whatever. But I did get a bunch of like I got some butternut, I got some hickory, a ton of walnut, some white oak. White oak is a good one, right? Yeah. Got some wenge, which I haven't worked with yet, so I'm pretty excited about that. Apparently, it's murder on your tools, so I'm very excited to try that. And then he had, I think it was like I ended up counting 18 turning blanks, and they're anywhere from 2 to 6 inches thick. And this stuff has been in his basement for like 20, 30 years. So it's all dried. Wonderful. So I started doing some work in my shed today. I have to finish it up tomorrow. I'm actually going to be putting a lumber rack, my old one from my old shop, in there. So just have all the wood on the wall, some of the crappier plywood in there as well. And then keep the really nice stuff in the shop. So I have those Hungry Dong racks that Mike recommended. So I'll be putting those up in the shop.
So hungry.
Yeah, so hungry. And then I bought the most minuscule basic tool in Home Depot today, and I'm super excited about it. I bought
those 99-cent
Flathead
clamps?
screwdriver.
No, it was 2 Husky sawhorses. They're just like basic sawhorses. The ones that like fold out the legs. You don't have to build the whole thing yourself. They're like $20 a pop. Yeah, they're like $20 a pop. They're not like those like durable ones that are almost like a beam and the stuff pops out of them, but that's all I need them for. Mike, I see you using yours for spraying and finishing all the time, and I'm like, this would be so easy to do.
I use my sawhorses all day long.
Like, yeah, I see you using them, and I'm like, why don't I have sawhorses? I could totally use them. So I'm gonna be busting them out. I'm gonna use them for painting and finishing outside and stuff. So pretty excited.
I got those Bora ones, and they're fine, but those Tough Built ones look exactly the same, but have a couple more features, and they're like half the price. I wish I would have bought those ones over the Bora ones. They're like $50 per, I think. But they can hold like 1,300 pounds each. And on each leg, they have a little fold out. So you can lay things on there on the side and work on them like standing up.
Oh, really?
I was just looking at those the other day because I have nothing but those cheap plastic ones.
Yeah, I want to get those Tough Built ones. They look really nice.
I saw a couple that they had. They had the like part for like you can drop a 2x4 in there and make it a table with some plywood over
that's
it.
What the Tough Built and the Bora has that as well. That's pretty standard with the with those like.
Yeah, so this is the tier like below it, and I was like, I really just want this for fit. I'm gonna spray it with paint. I'm gonna beat it up to hell. For $20, I can't beat it. Yeah,
you can't even think about it.
Exactly.
You just gotta work on it. Yeah.
And plus, I returned some stuff at Home Depot, so it's just they're free. That's how it works. All right, Dan. So what's on your bench? I mean, I'm still gonna keep talking because Dan's definitely not coughing a lot, and
we're not highly concerned about Dan's physical state right now.
Dan,
I'm okay.
All right, what's on your bench?
It tastes like burning.
This week, so today I just finished the second side table for my client with the live edge top. I really like the way that turned out. So I cut the legs on my CNC. I made a file, cut the legs on my CNC, and that way it complements the table that I made last week with the round top.
Yeah.
I think it looks great. Of course, I'm highly biased on this, but it looks phenomenal. I mean, I'm pretty much I'm a genius. I'm like
you are. But this is designer. 2 of 7 tables, right?
2 of like 59, I think. No, like they legitimately want at last count they wanted 10 total.
Damn.
And I have 2 done and I need to do 8 more. Let's see. What else did I do? I think that's pretty much it. Just some CNC stuff. I never have like a big exciting week like you guys. I feel like
you gotta write stuff down as it happens. I literally go through my photos because I document everything.
I don't document anything.
Sorry, I kind of
I have another story to tell, but I don't remember anything.
I did want to give an update on the house thing.
Oh yeah,
there's no update. There's no update. No, everything's been agreed upon and everything's ready to go, but we just have to get an appraiser out there, and they can't get an appraiser anywhere. So
Well, keep us apprised of the situation.
I know what I can add. I got something.
Yo, let's go.
So I blatantly ripped off Coffee with Coffee, and I'm doing this drinks with DD thing on Instagram, and I've turned that. That's not caught on. I'm a little upset, but anyway, I kind of turned that into a Monday Night Live thing. Excuse me.
He's turned it into a Monday Night Live thing. I am covering because he has some sort of an infection and is coughing a lot.
Yes. This week I have a cold or something, and it's really hitting me hard right now. But I'm it's hitting different. I'm trying to play this like Jordan with the flu.
Was that someone's stomach?
It's
Max.
He's itching his own ear.
He's just going to town on it.
Anyway,
Sounds
as
like
I
my
was saying,
stomach when I watch TikTok.
Jordan with the flu, and he scored 60. That's what I'm doing here. I'm gonna.
He scored 60.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I turned this drinks with DD thing into like a Monday Night Live with DD, and it's going well. I've had like 3 or 4 guests, and I'm gonna continue doing it. It was born out of like, so Instagram did this. Also, that we're not supposed to talk about that out loud. Instagram did this push a while back about trying to get people to do lives and use their new feature called badges, and it was born out of that. And I think I'm just going to keep doing it because it's been like a great thing. I really enjoy doing it.
Fun.
So
I really like doing lives. I always have liked doing lives.
Yeah, they are fun, and I like it. I like talking
doing them
with people that you don't normally talk with. So this Monday, so we're recording on Thursday. So Monday, I'm gonna have Blake from Whippoorwill Woodworks on, so that should be fun. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Continue.
Sweet. All right, so we'll jump into the questions now. The first question, right? Yeah, questions. Yeah, we're doing good. First question's from Adrian. Well, it says it's from Adrian, but I don't know the voice.
Hi, boys. It's Barbara again.
Oh,
I
man.
know. I've been locked up. That's
Me
why
and Barbara
I haven't
sound
been
alike
able
right
to
now.
Call you guys. Anywho, I heard through the grapevine that you boys are going to be at the Makers Camp this fall in October in the Catskills. So I just want to know, what are you most looking forward to other than meeting your girl Barbara at the Makers Camp? Yep, you heard it. I'll be there too. Can't wait to see you boys. Noogie, noogie, noogie.
I don't know what that last part means, but it sounds like I need to bring.
I stand by what we said in a pre-show. Don't meet your heroes. So we're not going to meet Barbara.
We won't see Barbara the whole time. It's just too much of a hero. I'll go first real quick. I'm most excited about. Well, we're going. The plan is for me and Dan to go out and see Pete, and then we found out that the Maker Camp is that same weekend, and that was not planned on any
Not
level.
planned
So
at all.
We're going to bomb it and make it our meetup.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Dan and Pete a lot. It's gonna be really nice to get out there, see Pete's new place, and I'm really excited to see other makers. I haven't gone to any events since Workbench Con in 2020, and it was a really great event for me. I made a lot of big decisions there about Coffee Custom Builds and how I learned a lot of things from there about the business and how I wanted to do it. So those events are very good. I really like networking. Like, not just, getting in to have a drink or something to eat with some buds, but I also really like learning from people who've been doing it longer than me. So not just the content side. I mean, like, this Makers Camp isn't like a content thing. There's content creators there, but this is really more of like people building stuff. And that's more of what it's focused on. Like, it was created for people who build stuff more than it was for people who film themselves building stuff. So just excited about that. Pete?
Yeah, I'm stoked. And if anyone's in the Northeast up here or wants to travel, we're going to be there on Saturday. We're going to just do one day because it's 2.5 hours from my house. We're not going to stay the whole weekend. But yeah, if you guys want to hang out or whatever, the tickets are apparently going really fast. You can get like a $10 just watch ticket. If you want to touch, it's a $75 ticket. And then they have like
Well,
the
actually,
premium
looking is
weekend one.
free. Touching will cost.
No, looking is $10. This is a
Oh,
fancy
it's-
place. Yeah, it's the Blackthorn Resort. Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, you don't just get to look at Jimmy DiResta without paying. Okay.
Yeah.
So I am
$35
very
for
stoked
smells.
to meet all the makers, and like I haven't been to Workbench Con, so like even just like meet Jimmy and some of the other big time makers from
Calm down there.
local areas. Well, just to meet him, be like, I know him from
He's got an
TV
entourage that
box.
keeps people away, like people like you away. Just
Derek
calm
from
down.
Malden. But yeah, just to meet everyone, all the makers, and like get to see the people that I've already made great friendships with. I mean, like I've met up with Lee and Danielle, and then Dre and Lucas a couple times already. So it'd be nice to see them again and hang out. Emma's coming; she's actually joining us. So she's gonna ride shotgun, and you guys can sit in the back of the Subaru. You guys can fit. That's
I wish
fine.
you
Mike
had a
is gonna be
Subaru
tiny
Brat.
by then. But yeah, Dan, what? I know, I'm kidding. Kidding. You sit in the front. Relax. I'll strap her to the top. Dan, what are you most excited for?
I'm really excited to see Emma again. I miss her.
I believe that.
No, I'm excited to meet people that I haven't met yet in real life, and see people that I've already met, and make new friendships and network, like Mike said, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be awesome.
And this is a little plug for another show. I'm actually going to be, I'm only bringing it up because Ethan Abramson is actually the MC for the Makers Camp, and he has a podcast, and I had subscribed to it, and I didn't really give it a chance because I don't have any time. I don't really listen to any podcasts, to be honest. I'm always kind of getting music going. It gets me going.
Especially this one.
Yeah. Well, honestly, this is the only podcast I listen to. It's fire. It really is the only podcast I listen to. And it's mostly for checking for audio defects and stuff like that. But it ends up being amazing. So, but Ethan's got a show, podcast, and God, I can't even remember the name of it. What a jerk.
Building a furniture
but
brand.
I'm actually going to be, yes, building a furniture brand. And I listened to it, and Chris was on there with Cam Designs, and man, I actually really enjoyed the podcast a lot. And it's really kind of niche, though. It's not like an entertainment show. It's really about owning a furniture business, and
It's informative. I listened to it after you told me.
I added it. I
about it.
haven't checked it out yet. I need to.
I really liked it a lot. Like I was like, oh, this is like really geared towards a furniture business owner. So it's real specific. But the bottom line is Ethan's going to be the MC for that event, and I'm going to be on a show tomorrow. We're doing a quick recording of that, and it's just kind of small world kind of stuff. So anyway, check that out. The next question is from Chad Hibbs. He has this to say.
Hey guys, it's been a while since I called in, but had a question this week. I'm wondering if any of you have ever used any like products manufactured by someone else in any of your builds. I'm not talking, glue or C-channel or anything, but something like a scenario that I recently did. So I had a client I built a large dining room table for, and they had some specific legs that they'd found on Etsy that they wanted to use. So they ordered them and had me use them in the table build. I guess the only thing that makes me a little bit nervous is I'm not building them. I don't know the person that did build them. So I can't really guarantee the craftsmanship on them too much. Just wondering if you guys have ever done this and how you approach it. Thanks a lot.
I would say, well, actually, Pete, you go first. Sorry.
So I haven't really done a lot of things with other makers making parts of it. What I have done, and I feel like Mike's done this even more, which is take someone else's piece that they're working on and customize it, engrave it, finish it, whatever it might be. To me, that's a little scary because it's like someone put hours into this to make it nice, and you have to bring it to the 100%, or at least the next level. And then maybe they finish the work, like Mike flattened slabs and engraved stuff for people. Like that's a lot of stress. But as far as like using something that another maker has made, I mean, I've bought before like hairpinlegs.com, whatever. I bought hairpin legs from like people that just sold them on Etsy or other places. Like one time I bought them from a guy that just made them locally in Jersey. So I've done some bases, and when I used to just do like crafts and stuff, I would get supplies from Etsy as well. I never really liked buying stuff from Michael, so I would just get it from Etsy, or again, I guess Marketplace at the time wasn't a thing, so it really was Etsy and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I've done it. I mean, I don't think it was like as serious of a thing as like he was dealing with, but yeah, I've done. I mean, it's a great way to support. Like some people, they're making their entire living just making an item for other items, or an item to make items, or whatever, an accessory or templates. Like I've sold a bunch of just cut out templates of just shapes, so that people can pour epoxy over them and make them into pretty little murals and stuff. So, Mike.
So for Chad's particular case, it sounds like these people picked out and maybe even bought the item. I would just make it clear you can't warranty that at all. Like you didn't have anything to do with that. Just be like, hey, you guys wanted this. That's cool. No problem there. I'm going to build my thing and put it on top of this. That's not my problem on any level. So Chad, you should honestly, for me as a business owner, if something like that came up, I'd be like, sick, less liability for me. I got nothing to stress about for that base. Not my problem. Something goes wrong with it, I don't have to hear about it. The top, that's all on you. I use a lot of bases from Bidwell. I mentioned them earlier. I use bases from them because live edge furniture people just want the industrial bases right now, at least in this area. They just really want metal industrial bases, and Bidwell makes really good ones, and that's one of my most valued trade partners is Bidwell. So they do really good stuff, and I know for a fact, and it's one of the reasons why I work with Aaron over there, because if something did go wrong with something he made, it would get corrected, and me and him would be able to work it out because we have a good relationship. So building those relationships is good. But someone who bought a base for you off of Etsy, it's not your problem. Just build your thing, get it on there, make it clear, set the expectation that you can't in any way cover a warranty on that. Dan?
Yeah, Mike took the answer right out of my mouth, and I'm going to keep my answers brief this week because, like I said, I'm not feeling the greatest. I'm not going to be like Jordan. Anyway, yeah, if
Stevie Jordan,
somebody brings you a base and says, build a top for this and use this, you got to make it clear to them that you can't guarantee the base. That's not your thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Other than that, I've never used anything other than like hairpin legs, like Pete said. I think I bought some wood table legs from tablelegs.com. You can get all sorts of hardwood table legs there. Or
never heard of that.
Yeah.
Is it like spun, like laid, like turned legs and stuff?
They're turned legs.
Yeah, do they have like square legs too?
Yeah, they have all kinds. Yeah, it's actually a pretty nice site. Drawer slides. I've bought drawer slides. I've used those. I've gotten some really bad ones off Amazon, so you got to be careful. You guys might remember that from my stories.
Those were very particular sizes, though, too.
Yeah, they were like
the common ones are a little
34 inches or something.
34 inches is what they were.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Anyway. Hey, now's a good time to pimp that I sell bow ties. So if you want, if you need bow ties, hit me up. Anyway.
Ironically,
bow tie needs.
We all sell things that people might use in their projects too. So
yeah, we do.
Mm-hmm.
So
call up Crazy Dan's Bow Tie Emporium for all your
discount bow tie emporium.
This next question is from John with, I believe it's Huntington Builds.
Hey guys, this is John with Huntington Builds. My question is mainly directed to Peter. So I recently posted one of my 3D printed designs on one of the forums, and a member reached out and suggested I sell them online, and could I print and sell him one? So my question is, how do you go about pricing out your printed designs? I know the basic formula for woodwork, but what is the formula you use for 3D prints? And to expand upon that, how does everyone price out their CNC time? Thanks, guys, for the show. Keep up the good work.
All right, so...
Pete. Sorry, I forgot it was a 3D printed question. Pete?
So the answer to this is simple and complicated. So as far as like, how do you price it? I didn't know how to price it. It was really, I would find similar items or items that are maybe someone makes out of metal or whatever, and make it, more competitive, or make it basically worth my time, at the very least, worth my time but not to a point where like people are just gonna, because it's when you 3D print something, it's plastic. You're not selling a metal part, so you do have to make sure that you're pricing below that, unless it's a very particular custom item. Then you essentially you're providing a service, a very custom you're providing fabrication at that point, and then that hourly rate is gonna go up. But the easy answer is you're simply going to go into Google or Bing or Ask Jeeves and just type in 3D printing price calculator. It's from Prusa Printers, the guys that actually make my printer, and they have everything from you can literally track different jobs in there too. But you put in what kind of filament you have, what the printing time is, what the price per roll of filament, and each roll is usually 1 kilogram. Dan, a kilogram is like a pound, but it's make believe.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not real.
Then you can literally, there's like a slider for markup. Like you can let's say, when we do work, a lot of times we'll have like a 10% markup on material or whatever it might be that we have to buy. And then your labor costs. Now, granted, with 3D printing, sometimes the labor might be 5 minutes or whatever, because it's just prep time. But maybe you round up to an hour. Maybe like when I have to model a custom thing for people, I tell them it's $50 an hour for my time to model it. And then if you want it printed and shipped, that'll be extra, but that'll usually be less. And then if they want multiple of that item, then the price goes down, because obviously I just have to model it once and then I just hit print as many times as I want. So sometimes it is a little loosey-goosey, but at the very least, if you're modeling it especially, get paid for your time, man. And this goes, and I know actually John was in the pre-show too, so he was asking if it's for other stuff. Like for laser work, for CNC work, it's the same. People get weird about it. I still have trouble pricing them out sometimes, including 3D printing items. I just kind of sometimes will just raise the price until people stop buying, and then I dial it back. Or my favorite, keep the price and put it on sale. You can do that too. It's a nice little strategy. But it's sometimes it's hard to price out. You just want to be competitive, and you want to get paid for your time at the very least, because there's plenty of things that I have found that I've designed or whatever I will not sell, because it's not worth it for me to sell. It's not worth it for me to pay $3 in shipping for a $3 item. It's a wash for me. So, I try to make sure that all my items are like $7 to
Shirt buttons.
$25. Yeah, like the shipping sometimes doesn't make sense.
Can you 3D print a shirt button?
You can't. Heck yeah, you can. Yeah. So make it worth your time, and if they come at you with a file, it's already done, whatever, and then charge them for the print anyways. At least do basics cost of it and shipping if that needs to happen. Anyways, that was a long rambly answer, but check out that site. That's going to make it a lot easier. Whatever price it ends up with, feel free to raise it or lower it, however you feel about it, but at least it will give you a ballpark answer. Cool. That's it.
Did you want us to answer that? I think he asked about CNC pricing too.
Yeah, did he actually ask in this question? But like for CNC pricing, I'm actually terrible at it. Mike, I was gonna actually pick your brain about it, because you do a lot more CNC pricing now than I do. So I would love to pick your brain about it.
Charge a few different rates for different things. So basically, if someone comes to me with a file on a thumb drive that I can put into my computer and open up in Aspire and very quickly make tool pathing for, charge them $125 an hour. If I have to do any design time, I charge them $50 an hour, and I do not prorate that. It's by the hour. If it takes me 20 minutes, it's an hour. I'm very firm on that. So,
round up the hours.
For makers, local makers and woodworkers, I could consider, I have a business to business pricing. I won't discuss that, but it's a lower rate for business to business. If I have other makers and I'm doing stuff for other makers, it kind of varies. But I really try to help out local makers as much as I can. If they've got, I've got a guy locally, Chad, over at Rescue Wood Co. He brings me a lot of tables and slabs to flatten for him. I give him a really good rate because he gives me consistent work with that. And he refers a lot of work to me as well, stuff he can't do. And so business to business, where I have like business relationships, I definitely take care of those people because I will have lots of business with them. And then commercial customers are higher rates because when you start doing commercial work, there's just more liability. So you kind of want to up those numbers no matter what on everything, every single part of it. They not only can they be a difficult customer, but they can have a lot of lawyers to make it even more difficult for you. So make sure everything's buttoned up there, but you really want to, also they have the money. So get the money where you can. So if they, I mean, my commercial customer rate is higher. It just kind of is for all commercial work. Everything's higher for commercial rates. It just is what it is. There's more hands involved. There's more process involved. There's more administrative involved. So I charge more. And that's typically anywhere from $150 to $175 an hour, unless it's production run. Then production runs, I start looking at the overall hours and I figure that out to a number that makes sense. Because you can kind of be like, I mean, $150 to $175 an hour adds up really, really fast.
Yeah.
And you could price yourself out of a job pretty quick. So you got to kind of look at it. So if you got like 2 hours of work and you charge $300 for it, that makes sense. But if you have like some ceiling tiles, like I'm making, and they take 5 hours per sheet just for CNC time, that'd be an outrageous amount of money to charge them for those things. And there'd be no reason for them to pay that much. They could just go have a custom run done by like a real big CNC shop. And then I'm just going to lose the job and it doesn't make any sense at that point. So anyway, Dan.
Well, I think the software that we all use Aspire. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that gives you an idea of how long your file is going to run. So, I'm like Mike, if it's a 20-minute run, I'm charging at least an hour, and I charge them my hourly rate. I don't think it's quite as high as Mike's, but I'm not in California and I'm not running as big of runs
your
as
machine
Mike's.
doesn't. Yeah, I mean it's got a scale. Like you're
right.
Yeah, my thing will do something in 3 hours. It'll take yours 5 hours.
Exactly.
You can't charge more for a machine that takes longer.
And then you have a rate for design time. I agree with that. Yeah, I think it's pretty basic like that. I'm still new at CNC, so I haven't like worked out all the kinks on how I price that up. It's like Mike said, you got to charge something that kind of feels right too. Like if you're charging something in the numbers say, well, it should be $5,000 and it's not, you're looking at it like, is it really $5,000 though? You don't want to outcharge yourself. So
yeah.
You got to feel it out a little bit too.
And look at other things in a market like Etsy, especially for handmade items. Etsy is a great place to look. If everyone's charging $15 for an item that you think you should be charging $35, list it, but you might have a hard time selling it.
I think if everyone's selling it for $15,
it also might not be worth it for you.
Well, I just don't like looking at Etsy for those kind of things because realistically, if there's something for like $50, everyone's selling $50, you should probably be at least selling it for $70 because you're still going to get those sales. You can market it in a way. Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, I think you can definitely look at different things and price them. I mean, people will bring me something for work and they'll be like, oh, I can get this on Etsy for like, for an example, I had a lasered item. They said, hey, we can get these for $3 a piece. I was like, great. I can't do $20 a piece.
Yeah. Do that.
And then you go down and scroll down and they want to charge $14 per to ship it. So now the price is the same. So you need to look at all this stuff. Like not everyone's using free shipping. Or then you'll look at some listings where they're like cutting board, $16.99. And you're like $16.99 for a cutting board. You go in there. None of the things are actually priced at $16.99. It's like cutting board is one of the line items, but then you have to choose one of the options for a drop down to, oh, did you want a cutting board made out of wood or a fake one? Because we can make you a fake one for $16.99. But if you want one made out of wood, it's going to be $59.99. So there's these tricky ways people use the listings in Etsy. So you really got to kind of dig into those, not just look at the surface too. People get really dishonest with some of the way they list some of those things on Etsy, in my opinion. Anyway, this next question is from Josh from 507 Woodworks. Friedrich, Josh? Anyone? Josh?
Hey guys, it's Josh from 507 Woodworks here. Thanks again for answering my question last week. Appreciate the Raz giving back. Anyways, this week's question for me is I want to expand my portfolio and items I can make for future clients. But I don't necessarily have the room just to sit on the items once they're built. So I guess I'm wondering, would you just bite the bullet and build these items so you can get photographs of them and display these items to clients or on your website or whatever, and just have them take up space until they sell? Or would you wait until a client actually comes to you and says, I want said item, and then you can go ahead and build it? Just kind of curious about what other people would do in this situation. Thanks again for answering. Looking forward to the answers. Have a good one, guys.
I'll answer real quick so we can get fast. We got several more questions and I want to get Dan done with the night. So I wouldn't build something just to make the listing ever. I don't build things unless I have someone already have a deposit for it. That's my business model. There are people who do build things and get them ready for a listing and sell them that way. And there are people who are successful at that. That worries me. I don't have the space for it either. For me in my position, I don't have the space to store it. And I don't want to be spending time on something unless it's already sold. That's kind of where I'm at. The only exception to that is if I can use it in my home as a piece of furniture and then I can take a picture of it. That's another part of when we move, we're getting rid of a majority of our furniture unless I've made it because I want to start making this stuff for the house so I can start putting those pictures on my website. So if you're trying to market yourself as someone who can do custom woodwork, it's kind of hard to do. You can show examples of your stuff, but you just have to be very clear in your verbiage on your site or wherever you're promoting yourself to say, this isn't all we do. We can do anything else. You got to somehow figure out and make that work in your own verbiage that's what it says on my site. Like I have my page where it has all my products and my projects. And it says at the very top, these are things I've made, but I can also make anything. If you can come up with an idea, we will work out the design together kind of a thing. So that's kind of the fun part about custom woodworking. But I have no experience with building to sell. There are guys who do that. I'm just not one of them. So I can't answer that. I would only build something if someone's paid for half of it. Pete?
I think Dan wanted to go. Dan, go first.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Dan.
It's a tough situation to be in, actually. If you're just starting out, it's tough to get your name out there, and people are going to want to be able to see what you're offering. And a lot of times people aren't going to buy if they can't see it or touch it or at least see a picture of it. So if it's a smaller item, just bite the bullet and make it. And if you have to, give it away.
Give it away. Yep.
Give it away. That's
totally.
what I did. I made a lot of things and I just gave them away, or like Mike said, you make them for your house, like that, like the chair back there, like the desk, like the loft. If you're watching the video, you can see me pointing at everything.
I made that treadmill to prove I can do it.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Work. That's something I didn't mention, Dan. Good point.
Yeah.
In the beginning with the small stuff, make stuff and give it away for almost cheap, basically.
Yeah. You just kind of have to bite the bullet so you can get examples of what you can do. I think that's all I got. Pete?
I actually, I think of the three of us, I do the most of make to sell. So yeah, I make a lot of the smaller, especially with like cutting boards or bottle openers or whatever. Cause like I like to have some of them, like the one year I had a lot of cutting boards because I was supposed to be some trade shows, but COVID, haha. But it actually worked out really well to have some of these things in the shop because there's always going to be somebody that's like, hey, do you have any cutting boards? Like, some, yeah, I'm looking for something like this. Like, I need it like today. I'm like, well, I don't have that, but I have these. And then, they'll probably go for one of them, but they might see something that they like. Plus, it's also good to, you're saying you're trying to build up a portfolio. You make the item, you figure out maybe a process for it. It might be useful to do that. And then you also can get some product shots and have a nice listing. You got those 10 photos to upload to Etsy. Use all 10 if you can. Maybe make a little video, just you panning around that cutting board or around that, whatever it might be. And, hey, you have it in a shop and you have one in stock. And you can make it so it's, being made constantly. So like you sell that one, you make another one, or you just sell that one and you're out of stock and then you can do a restock or whatever it might be. But at the very least, you have a tangible item you can take good pictures of, because if you've never made an item and you're trying to build up a portfolio, well, you got nothing to take pictures of. You could do renders, but it's not the same as a photo of like a real thing. So make it. Yep. Why not? It won't hurt.
Unless it's like a Alaskan king size bed.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, or like giant
just make
resin
it give away.
conference room table.
Yeah,
a little bit of inventory is
small decor
fine,
stuff.
but you don't want to live with inventory all over the place. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Josh the dad has this to ask or say or something. I don't know. Josh the dad.
Hey guys, it's Josh the dad. Yeah, Josh the dad, one of the big IG. I have a question, but of course it comes with a story. Yesterday I was working at my kitchen table, putting a laser together. It was kind of fun. And my wife was asking me about something like dowel rods or something. And just by chance, I went out to the shop to get a screwdriver, and I caught her out there cutting dowel rods in half with a hacksaw. Have you ever caught your spouse, loved one, significant other in your shop doing something very inappropriate with a saw? Just curious.
Dan.
This is why I'm on my second wife. No, I'm joking. I'm not on my second wife. Kayla, my wife.
What's that like?
I'm sorry. I forgot.
Subtle attack, Dan. Nice.
My wife won't go anywhere near my shop. It's never been a problem. She will not touch anything out there. So it's not a problem over at DDWW over here. What about you, Mike?
My boy likes to come in the shop a lot. He knows not to go near any of the saws. So no one's I've never walked in on anyone doing anything they shouldn't. I mean, I've had some local woodworkers come over sometimes, and I'm like, what do you do? Hey, why don't you just put that down? I've definitely seen some weird behavior.
I'm reminded of Step Brothers. You do not touch these drums.
Yeah, no, I've never ran into that before. Pete?
My dad, all the time.
Remember when he started your trash on fire?
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Miroslav.
my dad is he's a wicked smart dude, and he's very creative. That Polish engineering is just flowing through his Polish blood. And
submarine what is it, the submarine screen door?
Yeah, it's different outside the box, under the water. But it's not that he would do something like wrong, but a lot of times I'd like walk into the shop and he's like
bad.
He'd be doing something. I'd be like, well, that's one way to do it. That's creative. You're kind of thinking outside the box, but like you could have just also gotten me, and I could have just made that cut or done this thing in 10 seconds with this tool, like, meanwhile he's like doing it
on the table saw.
He's like doing like random stuff, or like he honestly, he wouldn't even turn like
using the table saw like
he wasn't a table saw guy. He was like, he would maybe use the bandsaw and like the router table, and that's it. Even the router table, he'd be like, you set it up, you turn it on. And I'm like, okay, it's just a router, calm down. But like he would not ask for help and just like find creative ways of doing stuff. And I'm like, dude, just ask me. Look at this. And I would open up the cabinet, like, this tool right here. This is what you're supposed to be using. What are you doing? So yeah, all the time. But now I'm happy to be in a shop. I'm not gonna lie, I do miss my dad being like in a shop and helping out with random things. I miss because he would sand for me. It was great. But it's gonna be nice to like have all my stuff in a spot and then not have it moved ever unless I move it. So I'm looking forward to it. Until you guys come over and you guys put your hats on the drum set on the table.
Yeah.
My hat. Right. Andrew Smith. He has this to say.
What's up, guys? It's Andrew from Smith Builds on Instagram. Got a question this week regarding the ideal specs for a bandsaw. I buy almost all my tools used simply because that's where I'm at financially and what I can contribute to my shop at the time. I've got a small space, which is also a bit of a limitation, but I'm finding that resawing on my table saw is not an ideal situation. And so I'm looking at acquiring a bandsaw also because I'd like to do some more template-oriented work and maybe some work with curves, which I'm not able to do with what I have, short of doing everything with a jigsaw. And I'm not super happy with my skills in the jigsaw. That said, aside from cut depth, because you need a lot of it to do a decent resaw, and preferring at least a 14-inch bandsaw, are there other specifications I should be looking out for, including things like the power of the motor? It seems like most of the stuff that's out there is between 3/4 and 1 horsepower. If I had the option to go with something bigger, like 1.5 or 1.25, would that be preferable? Or are there any other specifications I need to be looking out for in terms of what capacity or size blade it can take? Appreciate your thoughts. Anything for someone who's new and maybe looking at some used options through Marketplace or Craigslist? I'd appreciate your thoughts. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, I think we touched on this a little bit in the pre-show. I think a lot of the quote unquote better bandsaws that have at least a 1 3/4 horse motor. So that man, words are hard. Sorry.
You can say pass.
No,
Fine.
I just completely lost my train of thought.
Bandsaws, big blades,
bandsaws.
big motors, big Battlestar.
Any
Galactica.
any bandsaw that's going to be able to do a decent resaw is going to have a better motor, a bigger motor, like a 1 3/4 horsepower motor. Like I said, any of those bandsaws that have the smaller motor, I think they're going to struggle a little bit with the resaw, even if they have the capacity. I think Pete had mentioned the Delta or the Grizzly. You know, you can get a riser block for it, but if it doesn't have the stronger motor, you might struggle a little bit. Also, there's more to it than just a good blade. I mean, you have to tune the machine properly too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if it's not tuned right, I mean, you can still get drift. And I think that's really key, is tuning the machine right, getting your fence nice and square, getting the tension on your blade correct, get your guide set correctly. It takes some time, and it's worth it if you set your machine up correctly. It really makes the difference. Pete, do you have anything to add and save me from this disaster that I just spewed?
Well, I totally agree with you. I think that a 1 3/4 horsepower is I think what you should be looking for as your base, like as the minimum you want to go with. The good news is that's not hard to find.
No, it's pretty standard.
Most of those, like that standard, when you say bandsaw, that word comes, the thought comes to mind of like that rounded top, rounded bottom, Grizzly, Jet, Delta. They're all like very similar body. They all came out of the same like 3 factories over the last like 20, 30 years, or at least at this point, like 40 years. Those are all great options. They all, or for the most part, they will all have 1.5 to 1 3/4 horsepower motors, just standard. And I would recommend look for one that can take a riser block. I have the Delta that I restored, and I can put a riser block in it. I just need to get one. I just haven't gotten around to getting it. And then I ended up getting the Laguna. I might still put a riser block in there, because you go from, with a lot of these, it's not even 6 inches. It's like 5 3/4 or 5.5, depending on what kind of setup you have on there for the guide. So then you will get almost 12 inches of resaw with that. Now, the other thing is like the bands that are on the wheels. So you want to make sure you have decent ones, or they're at least in good shape, because then you have slipping, drift, things like that. You got to dial it in, like Dan said. You got to have decent guides. That's going to make a heck of a lot of difference. A decent blade is going to help you. And even like swapping, a lot of these are belt driven. So swapping the belt, like the rubber belt that has memory for the link belts, because that'll take a lot of wobble out of the machine. So it'll run a lot smoother. So
you're talking about the belt between the
motor and the actual bottom wheel that
right.
rotates. Yeah. Thank you for calling that out. So that's things to consider when you're looking at these. It sounds like you're leaning towards one that you want to pick up kind of secondhand and maybe tune a little bit or whatever. I highly recommend that, because you can get a good deal. Now, if you have the money, look at something in a 2 horsepower and up, because they're definitely worth it. Something that's already got the full height. Like the Laguna, I think the Raycons, I think Grizzly has a bigger one as well, like that. It might be worth to just get that, buy ones, cry ones. If you're looking for something to restore, go with the other route.
I think if they pick up a 2 horsepower motor, though, they might be drifted into the 220 volt territory. So if you don't have that in your shop, that might be something to consider.
Like the Laguna we have,
that's 1 3/4 horse.
I thought it was 2.5. That's right, 2.5.
It's 2.2.
You're right. Yeah. Good call. Thank you for that. That is a good correction.
There's nothing wrong with 220.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. You just got to make sure that you
if you have the
capability,
power, go for it.
100%.
Good call. Mike, what do you think?
So yeah, I mean, you guys covered everything. I'm seeing a lot. I don't know what's going on right now. It's obviously probably regional, but I'm seeing a lot of really good used tool deals on Facebook Marketplace right now. I don't know if, I think during COVID, a lot of people got into woodworking, and I think that there's people that are actually upgrade on like their series of upgrades right now. I don't know what's going on around me. I'm seeing like really nice Powermatic planers and jointers and a bunch of Laguna stuff. Well, actually not a lot of Laguna stuff, but I'm seeing pretty big machines that I don't typically see on the marketplace that are going out there.
Do you think it's anything to do with the fires?
No, that just happened. I mean, it could. But it looks like a lot of like the listings are like, middle-aged dudes. It looks like they might be upgrading their shops from what I can see. And then there's a few of them where you can tell it's like someone just got a divorce and the wife is getting rid of tools. It's like I'll see some of them where like the tools are just like crazy cheap, and then I'll see the listing for like a crazy price, and then there'll be like 100 comments on it, like, is it available? And then the next day the price is like doubled to where it should be. Like they just don't know how much it's worth. They like kind of gauge it based on reaction. So, but anyway, the point is, you need a lot of power to do a resaw, and it's not so much. I mean, you need the raw power, but when you get these bigger blades, the reason the bigger blades works for a resaw is because they have the bigger gullet, and that bigger gullet is important to remove the chips. And you need to get all those chips out of there when you're cutting. When it slices, it puts that stuff into that gullet and pulls it down and then ejects it out. So you need power to do that. And the higher your resaw gets, the more your capacity is for that. You just need more power. You just got to have more power. It's just not going to do it. So some of these like 1 horsepower, like the G0555 and some of the Deltas, you can throw another 6-inch riser block on there and get like an 11 3/4, 11.5-inch resaw capacity. Yeah. There's probably a lot of wood you're not going to be able to actually resaw at that capacity because the motor just isn't there. So those machines are really like a 1 to 1.5 horsepower machine is great for radius cuts. It's not going to be something you can reliably use for resaw. You'll be able to do resawing on there.
You'll have to go low and slow. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just going to take forever. So
yeah, a long time.
I would say definitely look at your 1.5 to 1 3/4 machines, like the 1412, the Rikon machine. Grizzly has a deluxe version of the 555. I believe they get you a bit more horsepower. You can look at the Powermatic. They have their standard machine that looks exactly like the Delta, but it's got a beefier motor in there. So look for some bigger stuff. Bandsaw is still to this day my favorite tool in the shop. I just love that tool so much. So I say just go crazy. But on the flip side of that is I was actually just talking today to Justin over at Rustic Grain Designs. And he just sold his bandsaw. He bought a brand new one of those Harvey Ambassador ones, the 3 horsepower 18-inch guy. He ended up using it twice. It doesn't do that because he does built-ins. He doesn't need a bandsaw. So it kind of depends on what you need. But if for Robert's question, he sounds like he needs and wants a bandsaw for his shop, I say get a good one. It's Andrew Smith, 100%. Andrew's looking for it, so I'm assuming he has a need for it. So I say get a good one, because if you start getting into like the good bandsaw world, they're just so usable.
They're for just listen. If you're doing woodworking, general woodworking, a bandsaw is one of the best tools you can have. That's why I kept my. I got lucky. I was able to keep my my Delta, and now I get to do the Mike Coffey dual bandsaw wielding. So
it's nice having two.
It's so nice because then I can really keep one for resaw, the other one's for detailed work, and I have the Carter guides on there. I've upgraded, tuned everything. It was a shame to sell it, so I'm very happy. So
I'm glad you didn't get rid of it. It's good to have.
Hell yeah, man.
This next question is from Tommy G.
Love that guy.
Hey guys, Thomas G here
from
Thomas Custom Woodworks on Instagram. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on cure times. So I just built a desk and I use General Finishes Armor Seal, and the cure time for that product is 30 days. And I don't mind waiting the 30 days. I'm in no hurry and it's going to get a lot of use. And so I want it to be as durable as possible. But how lenient or strict are you all on cure times? And maybe it depends on how much wear and use the product's going to get that you're building. But just excited to hear your thoughts on how long you wait before you either use the item or deliver it to your customer. Thanks, guys.
Dan.
Well, if it's something that I make for my own house, I'll take it in as soon as it's dry, and I can monitor it in my own house. So I can see how much use it's getting, and I can yell at the kids if they're not using a coaster or whatever. If I'm sending it off to a client, if it's got a cure time of like 30 days, I'm not going to hold on to it for 30 days. That's a lot of shop space it's taken up. I'll give it to them like after a couple days and say, hey, look, you can use this, but here's what you need to do. You need to take it easy and not, have dance parties on it until after 30 days. So, you just got to be mindful and at least communicate that to the client, expectations and all that. What do you think, Mike?
I usually put the ball in their court. I mean, it's their product. I mean, it's their thing I made for them. I'll tell them, hey, this thing has a cure time of this amount of time. I can either hold on to it for you somewhere and you can wait for it to be done, or you as an adult can listen to what I told you and handle it yourself. And so typically they just take it and they will hold it onto their thing and they'll do their thing. And if I have it, I'll usually have that conversation in email nowadays, just for liability reasons. And I force them to respond. Really
that
good
way it's in
response from
writing.
emails.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So people don't say, oh, I didn't get the email. Make them respond. So I just did a delivery for some tables. I said, hey, this has a 5-day cure time. I want to make sure that you can wait the 5 days. And then the customer didn't respond right away. So I actually texted the customer and said, hey, could you respond to that email? I just want to make sure we're on the same page here. Have it in writing. So just make sure they're good about it. And then as soon as they say that's okay, then you just give it to them and you don't need to worry about it anymore. You have it in writing. So there's some finishes I use. One of them takes 21 days to be water cured. And I just tell the customer, and I haven't never really had any pushback on that. I don't really get any pushback. I just make sure that they know it. And then they say, that's great to me. And then we move forward and it's not my problem. Put the ball in their court and make sure you have it somewhere that it's easily referenceable so that they can't come after you. Liability. Anyway, Pete.
No, I agree. I just follow whatever the manufacturer recommends. They got to figure it out for a reason, and if you're messing with the formula a little bit, maybe do some test stuff if you can, or test it on your own furniture in the house. But yeah, I like to not even hand off to the customer until the initial, can be handled, or light use after whatever 2 days or a day or 3 days. I don't like to even hand off the piece until that moment. Because sometimes people are like, I need this tomorrow or whatever. And like, well, you can't use it. Like, I know you want.
You don't want to be packaging stuff up while the finish is still wet.
I've made that mistake. I've like, oh, this is cured. It's been 24 hours. And then like I wrap it up and they like unwrap it and like the wrapping stuck to it in some spots because of the heat. It's like, well, now I got to take it back and refinish it. So much for your rushed gift, So stick to it. And Mike is right. Get it in writing, especially if it's a client and it's a bigger job.
I mean,
cover your butt.
That's good advice for anything, though.
Yeah.
Like if you're working with clients, get it in writing somehow.
Emails, always do emails. That's why. I mean, as soon as anyone calls me about anything for like an inquiry, I use Jobber now. I've got that link. I say, hey, is this a cell phone? And they say yes or no. If they say yes, I'll say, can I text you this link? You can fill this out. We can get the conversation going on email. I can't remember all these effing projects that I've got, like trying to go with these people. I'm doing all these projects right now. I've got 5 or 6 times more than that in requests, and I don't get every job. So there's so many, I can't remember all of them. I can't remember these people's name. I have to name them the thing that they want me to build. Like when I set these requests up in Jobber, I can't remember them. I've got a lady who wants a set of spa stairs. I got some guy who wants a table. I got some guy who wants 2 bar. I can't remember any of these things. I have to remember things about them with the title I use them. And that just helps you stay on top of things. So just use email and a thing that, and archive it in a way that you can actually search it or index it in a way that you can actually search those things. Because if you're like in a pinch, like if you're driving somewhere and you get that call, oh, hey, we got this and we were using it. And then, now it's got a smudge or whatever. This is some weird random made up scenario, but you can be like, dude, I told you had to wait 5 days before you were using it, and then you're like, oh, and then you just forward them the email. I just forward them that email with that conversation. And then you won't hear back. You just won't hear back.
You're going to pay for it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Or typically anything like that I've ever had, I just don't hear back. I never hear back from them again. Yeah. So, anyway, just cover your butt because people become like a wasp backed into a corner when they feel like they're about to be out a bunch of money they just spent on something. And that's the other thing. These things that you make people are really expensive. And it's kind of a hard decision for a lot of times for some people. So they got to really make an investment. So you really want to make it clear to them, this $3,000 to $10,000 table they just bought from you, you need to handle it this way. You need to take care of it this way. This is the best thing you can do. Of course, this table is going to get dings and scratches on it because you're going to use it. You just can't, there's no finish that exists that makes it impervious to damage. It just doesn't exist. There's no such thing. So here's what you need to know to make that period of time of it looking good the longest. So you just have those conversations.
Hell yeah.
Anyway, sorry we went so long, Dan. We were trying to go fast.
We got a
We're not
written
feeling
in
good.
question.
Better soon.
We should.
Oh, I'll read it. I'll read it. Let me find it.
I already got it up. I can read it.
Oh, you do? You got it up, huh?
Oh, I'm glad you able to get it up with the cough.
Question for you fellas. This is from Ryan over at Old Glory Woodworks.
You mean Dan and Friends?
Dirty
That's
Dan
right.
and the boys.
Question for Dan and Friends.
Sickly Dan and the boys.
Ryan says, I may be moving 1,600 miles if all goes. Oh my! I'm sorry.
I'll do it. I got this.
Yeah.
I got this. Ryan says, I may be moving 1,600 miles if all goes well. Beyond packing the essentials of your home, what's the best way to move my garage shop? Table saw, CNC, drill press, bandsaw, planer, plus much more. All my shop furniture, outfeed table, rolling carts, the whole kit and caboodle. The thought of it all stresses me out more than moving the house. Best ideas, sell it all and start over. U-Haul, pod, FML, help.
Sorry about that, by the way. I didn't mean to.
No worries.
Two coffees, one Pete.
I was
They're very funny.
I was
show title right there.
Two coffees, one Pete.
Is that gonna work? Because it's like COUGH.
Coffee, and Pete.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right.
That was pretty funny.
Coffee. Okay. Anyway, I'm writing this down live in the middle of the show.
We still gotta laugh. It's fine.
It was good. We don't need to overthink it.
Oh, well, that was a nice sound, wasn't it?
I am absolutely. What's up?
Go ahead. Well, I was going to answer while you're writing, but yeah, answer it.
I'm absolutely overwhelmed with what about moving my shop, and I'm only moving at 20 miles from here. Originally, when we were looking at moving, we were wanting to go to Montana, and that move was real daunting. There was a lot of times where I was like, I'm just going to sell everything here as much as I can, and then I'll just buy new over there, or buy used, or just buy the same item, but so I have the same setup. But I didn't want to move it. Obviously, you take depreciation in that, but sometimes having to rebuy a tool you pay like a few $100 more for, again, is easier than moving it. It feels like sometimes, but obviously, if you can move it all, move it all. But man, I would really say buy yourself a trailer because you can pack a lot of your own stuff in there, but also hire a moving company. There's some tools like the CNC. I don't know that I trust the CNC with a moving company. I guess it came on a freight company, but that thing was crated and saran wrap. Every single inch of my CNC was covered in saran wrap from top to bottom and crated up in like really nice scenario. I don't think I could crate it up that well. And I don't know how stoked I'd be if I unload at my new shop and my biggest money-making tool needs a repair that I've got to pay for out of pocket, or I've got to wait for some insurance company to cover, and who knows how long that part's going to take, especially right now. I don't know if for these larger CNCs, I don't know what he's got for a CNC, but for the CNCs right now, parts are like taking a really long time to come in from Taiwan right now because of all the issues with COVID, with supply and demand. I mean, I know that some people are putting down deposits for CNCs and they're being told 4 months minimum because of the chip shortage and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know.
Shoot, I bought mine 2 months ago. I'm still waiting on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's really daunting. I mean, I don't really have a great answer. I don't think that you're gonna want a U-Haul. I think it really is worth buying a trailer to move your stuff, to be honest, because you could use it later on down the road. It's an asset. It's not just a cost, it's an asset.
Yeah.
So Dan, what do you think?
I agree. Trailer is an asset, but I would also like
that asset.
I would also kind of weigh the difference. If you sell all your tools and buy again, you're going to lose money. But tools do hold their value well.
Yeah.
But also moving them 1,600 miles is going to cost you money. Mm-hmm. So what would cost you more money? Would the move?
It's almost a wash realistically. That's why
exactly. If it's a wash, I would,
or even close to a wash.
I would think about selling everything and just starting over. I mean, I really would. If like Mike just said it. I mean, if it's close to being a wash, if I'm upside down just a little bit, like a couple $100, man,
even like $2,000,
it's almost like not worth the headache of moving everything.
No, you just get a new one and you have a new tool. I mean, obviously everyone's situation is different. Like for me, I look at the tool as like such a integral part of my business.
We don't know your exact situation, so we can't give you a good answer, but that's how I'm looking at it.
like writing off $2,000 of if I could sell all my tools and I make $18,000 for like a pile of these big pain in the neck tools, and I have to go back and buy like $23,000 worth of tools to replace them. That's not really a big deal. $5,000 isn't great, but I'll sell a table or something. So I mean, you just make it work. It's just one of those things. Like there's just big expenses that come in with buying a shop or moving your whole shop. I mean, I'm dealing with the same thing right now. So,
Pete, how'd you deal with this when you moved?
Well, I was only moving 40 miles, so I was lucky enough to move a lot of the stuff myself, and then I did a 1-day push for all the large tools with. Luckily, I had a couple local makers, Matt from Garden State, Jake from JV Woodworks, Glenn from Glen Marino, like that. A bunch of guys came out, helped me out. We loaded everything up, and just 2 trailers and a bunch of cars. We brought everything over. Now, if I was moving across the country, here's the thing. I've kind of looked at some of these numbers just based on some ideas we had of maybe moving south a little bit, a couple states
to
down.
Nebraska.
Yes, south to Nebraska. Yep, to South Nebraska. And basically, the numbers we were coming up with, just ballpark numbers, was between 3,000 and 7,000 to move the shop only. Because now I don't know what the situation is. Maybe are you guys getting a large freight truck that is going to be, most of it filled with your house, and then maybe there's room to put tools in there, and it's just bundled into the price, or it costs you a little more, because that's the cheapest option. The other options are, you can get a pod dropped. I think that's how Bruce Ulrich moved. He dropped a pod.
He did pods.
Yeah, he did 2 of them, I think.
Very happy with the service.
But pods, you're looking at like $2,000 to $4,000 per pod, depending on the size too and how far you're going. Another option is, depending on what kind of property you have and whether it's even possible to drop it on your property anywhere, you could buy or rent a it's basically a pod, but it's a container, and then load it up, secure it however you need, and have a freight company actually pick it up and move it. I've seen that happen before. Getting a container across country is about $2,000, but buying a new container, you're looking at about $1,000 to $2,000. So like either way, you're in this like thousands of dollars, number. So the guys were right. Like, look, I think when Mark Spagnola moved one time, he just sold all his tools and bought them again because it was cheaper. And it's a nice excuse to maybe upgrade or something, and maybe get rid of some tools that you don't need. Obviously, take everything you can that's smaller, but that big stuff, it might not be worth moving. It might be a big hassle.
I mean, I was going to sell for sure my jointer and my planer and buy a new jointer and planer at the new place in Montana. Those tools, those weigh like 1,000. I mean, 900 pounds for the planer and 1,200 pounds for that jointer. And my CNC, I was going to sell locally and have the new CNC out there. But I mean, it is very realistically to look at some of these tools.
Price list side by side of like, what if you sold and bought again, brand new, not even if you were like bargain hunting, like you just bought brand new, walked into a Rockler or whatever, Menards, and picked it up,
Yeah, it's definitely hard to answer without knowing your exact situation. But yeah, man, factor all those things in, make your decision. We're not your parents. Figure it out. I'm just joking. Thanks for the question. It is a lot. It's hard to answer, man. It's 1,600 miles is a long distance, and that is just so much to hump across the country. That's gonna be
Did you say hump across the country?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a schlep.
There's a show title.
Hump across the country.
AWP Hump Across the Country 2021 tour.
Okay. Well, this is fun. We've been canceled. Dan, I hope you feel better tomorrow. I know you won't, but hopefully you're.
Man, this is going downhill fast.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Look like crap. I'm sorry, buddy.
Thanks. No, that's my normal.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Let's get this thing done so Dan can be done.
Yeah.
Guys, have a great night. Thanks for listening to the show. We hope you have a great weekend. I'm probably gonna make this thing live earlier on Sunday, so there's a full day of listening to the show this Sunday. I don't know, I just kind of felt like doing that. So keep an eye out for the Patron giveaway for the tumblers, and keep an eye out for the new Etsy listing for the Patron. For the new tumblers on the Etsy store.
Yep.
Also, check out all of our Etsy stores. If you got anything over there you're looking for, we'd love to make it for you. And check out our Instagrams and TikToks and YouTubes and Facebooks and our Pinterest pin boards and whatever that stuff is. So
all that.
You guys have a great rest of your week. All right. Take it easy and have a good one. Bye.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Love you long time.